Many times, especially when we create plats, so much information, so many details need to be included that having the labels show up along the plan just becomes illegible. And so we get into the situation where we may tag a certain segment and then create a table. What we're going to do is see how Civil 3D can accomplish this for us. So we're going to go ahead and open up our last exercise in the Parcel chapter 0507 segment table. And we're going to focus in right on that intersection here where we see the 4 different curve segment labels. And we're going to simply select these segment labels. And if we don't have our properties palette open from the contextual ribbon, we can choose label properties or properties, either one. We'll open up our properties palette. We're going to change the label style for curves here from the default to what's called 4 tags only. Automatically and immediately, we see the curve tags show up. Really, every single segment label, curve or line, automatically already has a number and a tag label associated with that style. So these were already numbered automatically as soon as we created those different parcel segment labels. What we're going to do now is we're going to use the annotate ribbon and we're going to create a table for our parcels and have a curve parcel segment table. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. Of course, we have the different styles, and there's a few different ways, similar to point tables, where we can add data to the table. We can manually select the tags, or we can use a style to do so. I really find that using a style provides such powerful dynamic nature to being able to add and remove items in the table. Since we already changed the style here, we're going to go ahead and say use the style that we've changed them to, 4 tags only, and then of course the abbreviation for the parent. We're going to change the selection rule as well to add existing and new. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. The rest is very similar to any other table. If there's a certain amount of rows, do you want to go ahead and create another table? And then how much offset is there between the tables, which direction to create multiple tables, and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. We're going to place our curve table underneath. The information found within is based, of course, on the table style. Notice they're sorted in the correct order with the curve numbers. We're going to renumber in a minute. But before we do so, there's a few additional curves that we may want to add. So as we go through here, notice here we have one that is only 4 feet, barely 5 feet in length. We're going to change that to 4 tags only as well. And you can literally walk through and then just add tags by changing their style, and they'll immediately show up in the table object. So we're going to set those. Now, because of that, I don't need them to be extended or dragged out. So we're going to reset both of these labels right onto the curve. And so all we did was from the contextual ribbon chose reset, and now they're placed exactly in the midpoint of that curve segment. We go back to our curve table. Notice they're already automatically added to the curve table. So all I have to do is then walk around, once I've created the curve table, and walk around the site and select the appropriate curves, change their style, and they're automatically added to that table. Let's look a little bit now at renumbering. Renumbering is very similar to renumbering the area labels, with one exception. When we renumbered the area labels, we selected the parcel. In this case, we're going to select the label itself that we want to renumber. And so notice in the contextual ribbon, it says renumber tags. We're going to select this, and it automatically renumbers. It actually fired a command and went through that process in the command to renumber. I'm going to hit escape, and we know in AutoCAD, Map, and Civil 3D, because it's all built on top, that if we press enter, it will repeat the last command used. We see that command show up again, edit tag numbers, but with a few additional options, such as settings. We can control the renumbering process. It's a great way to make adjustments if we renumber incorrectly. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Actually, here you notice C2 is in the right location, so we're going to change that to C3. Click OK, renumber this curve, and this curve is correct. So again, we go to our settings and go to the next one, which is C5. We click OK there. We're going to renumber, I almost missed this one, along this edge here to C5, C6, and then C7. At any point, if there is an existing curve, it will ask you, do you want to truly renumber? So if I click on Settings and change this to 7, and select this label, it will ask me, do you really want to create a duplicate? The great thing is it will allow us to do so. So as we renumber, we may have 2 C7s throughout until we're completely finished. There is no way that it will ever be the default option, but we can go ahead and say create duplicate, and it will go ahead and renumber. And so we can go through, add all of these different ones in the tag, set the correct style, if that is how we're going to control those items, put them in the table, and then we can go back and renumber using the command edit tag numbering. We can get to that command by simply selecting the label and choosing renumber tags.